Did you guys hear anything about Italy from your mom yet?
It looks like a boot.
It looks like a boot. Is that something you're just noticing, or did your mom say that?
No, she said that.
When we were looking for it on the map.
And she said
Yeah.
it's either red or green or something.
It's kind of sideways, but I do see it. I see the boot if I tilt my head. Yeah, super green, like a lot of the rest of Europe, that's for sure. Although it's got some like sort of rocky areas as well out along the sides. They also have this giant island. Actually, they have a couple like islands. See these little red dots out in the water? Those are all owned by Spain, or sorry, by Italy. Spain has little islands out in the water too. A lot of these countries do. Greece does as well, which is one that you'll learn about with Uncle John next week. France, I think France has some islands, yeah.
Can you change it back to the light?
I thought you might like to learn about the animals. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know, the animal that they're most known for is the wolf, the Italian wolf, which if you remember yesterday,
a bunny.
Bunnies? Yeah, you remember bunnies from the Netherlands?
No.
Or from Hungary?
You saw a bunny just
Oh, you saw a bunny. I see.
We always have bunnies traveling in our yards. Yeah, and like this time it was like so close to our front door. Like so close.
Do you think it was hungry and it was trying to steal your carrots?
Well, it was eating the grass. Yes.
Tempting. Grass is very delicious. I have that problem sometimes. It's why cows and sheep and you know, rabbits all eat it. You've eaten grass, right?
Once.
I've seen dogs eat grass, but they usually throw it up. They think it's smart. They're like, I want to be like a sheep and a cow, and then they start eating it and they throw it up. And they're like, this is not tasty.
And I've eaten one tiny petal of a clover.
I don't think it's good for us, but there are salads. Salads are good for us and lots of veggies, but normal grass, not so good to eat. So you remember with wolves, one of the things we talked about is that they're kind of like dogs. They're like ferocious dogs. They've got a lot of dogs in Italy.
Look at these dogs.
Look at these little ones. They're adorable. But they don't beat this guy. Oh wait, hold on. This mastiff. Here it is. There he is. Look at that face. Incredible. He's got this like super wrinkly back. Have you ever seen such a wrinkly dog?
No.
Me neither. But if you go to Italy, maybe you will. And you might see a porcupine too. These little critters with their cute little backs that look like they're feathers. It's kind of like they're deceiving you. You think it's a peacock, but they're actually pointy.
Sold
See the baby?
on first floor.
Oh
my gosh.
You love babies, Hayden, don't you? Especially baby animals.
Yes. What about the third one on the second row?
We've got hares, or rabbits, as you like to call them. So they've got a lot of those. They've got a lot of marmots. We talked about marmots, because up in the Alps, just like a lot of the neighboring countries, they've got these little marmot guys. They've got deer. Red deer are super common there, just like in Pennsylvania.
Hey, Quinn, honey. You're taking a lot of notes on the animals, but there's going to be a lot more about Italy that might stand out even more than animals, so I have more room on your paper.
I know.
Yeah, we're just starting with the animals because it's the fun part.
Animals, so yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it's all kind of fun. But yeah, they've got brown bear that might eat all the little ones. And if you look really hard, you might even find a lynx, which is kind of this really rare special cat that can live up in the snowy mountains. Kind of cool. Also, I found a bunch of other funny looking animals that I think they're more rare, but I thought I'd show them to you guys. Like the squirrel, this little monkey thing. I don't know what that is, but apparently you can find it in Italy. This guy with the neck, I thought he was kind of cool. That's I really liked these sheep. They're having a very interesting conversation. He was saying, glad I got my puffy jacket on. It's chilly.
What's the other one saying?
The zebra pony. The
What's the other one saying?
Donkey there.
We've got Grumpy Cat.
No, but what about the sheep? What did the other one say?
You can fill it in with your imagination.
No.
You can imagine that he was saying, oh, I wish I was that other animal with the cute tail. What kind of animal do you think this is?
Not a human.
A human animal. That's correct. And they like to dress up for carnival, just like in a lot of other parts of South America, except here they go all kinds of crazy with their costumes. It's a slightly different kind of celebration, but it's real fancy. Fancy masks and everything. Here's some of the kiddos, Italian kiddos. They're sporting some of their colors. Kiddos love face paint, don't they? It's like kids are always wearing face paint.
Yeah.
You approve of face paint? You like it?
Yeah, but mommy always makes us wash it off before bed. Always, no matter what day we get it on. Even if we're like supposed to have it the day later, like she doesn't let us keep it on.
That's because it'll ruin all your sheets and your clothes, and maybe it'll even become permanent, and you'll constantly have face paint for the rest of your life if you leave it on for too long. No, that's only if you use a Sharpie. The Sharpie would take a long time to come off. They love doing family dinners in Italy. They're very, very family oriented, just like in the Netherlands. And actually, people will live with their parents up until they're 30 years old even. That would mean me still living with Mimi and Pops. Still there, not traveling or anything, just kind of living there. I mean, they might get away and travel, but they
How
often
old are
live.
you?
I'm 30 years old. 30. Yeah. How old did you think I was?
20 something. Yeah.
I was 20 something up until March, and now I'm 30 something. 30.
Oh, I didn't know.
Exactly.
I didn't know your birthday was recent.
Yeah, you didn't give me a present. I was super upset about it.
It's because I didn't know.
I'm just kidding.
I'm
I'm only teasing.
It was.
I don't accept presents anyway. I never take presents.
It was on the calendar. You guys don't remember because everything since quarantine began feels like a different life and world than anything that happened before.
I have so few possessions, Quinn, that I don't even want presents. Like I always like to say, your presence is my present. Your presence is my present. One of the things I thought was interesting is that the Italian alphabet and the language of Italian is missing 5 different letters. They don't have J or K or W or X or even Y. They have 5 less letters than we have in English. And it's very similar to French. Actually, 89% of the language is the same as French. And 82% is the same as Spanish. So French, Spanish, and Italian are very similar. They call them the Romance languages because when people speak them, it sounds so beautiful. And here are some of the common words like ciao. I say ciao all the time as hello and goodbye, or grazie, thank you. I like this one, scusami, excuse me. Scusami.
Ho fame, I'm hungry.
Ho fame. That's timely because we've got food up on docket next. They like all the pastas, all kinds of pasta, lasagna, frittata, polenta, and pizza, and gnocchi, and risotto, and bruschetta, minestrone.
Do you guys like
the foods?
Pizza and pasta and gnocchi?
Which of these is your favorite? What would you most want to eat?
Pizza!
I knew it. I knew you were going to pick pizza. And that's why I have the biggest pizzas ever queued up next. They have what they call half-meter pizzas and meter-long pizzas. Look how long this pizza is. Like, here's one with people at the table.
Half meter? It's not a circle.
It's 3 people long. Yeah, it's not a circle. It's 3 people long. That's how big it is. See, you can make pizzas that aren't circles. You can make them as squares. You can make them long and meters like this. You can even make them shaped like hearts if you really, really love your pizza.
I've done that before. We made
really.
We got to like shape our pizzas one time. Hey, we were a lot younger, but we were like in this place. I forget what.
I think it was in the Outer Banks on the family vacation.
Was it a family reunion?
Maybe.
And if you get tired of pizza, you can always switch over to pasta. They have every single type of pasta you could ever want. And they have sauces. The sauces are so good.
Gnocchi is next.
Gnocchi. You don't like gnocchi. You know what adults like to have with all their pizza and all their pasta? Wine. And Italy makes great wine. They make tons and tons of wine because they have this beautiful place known as Tuscany, where all the grapes grow. And people like to travel here from all around the world and go and stay in little cute towns and houses just like these and enjoy the good weather and enjoy the wine and relax. What do you think? It's okay? You approve? Meh. They also make olives, lots and lots of olives. Do you like olives?
Not really.
Neither
Mimi
do I.
loves them.
Yeah, I don't really like olives. Green olives, black
It's
olives,
like how
any kind of
Mimi
olive.
gets, Mimi gets a jar of olives every Christmas, like how I get a jar of pickles every Christmas.
Yeah, I think those
Nothing.
pickles are hilarious. I don't like pickles or olives, so I think y'all are both
Yeah,
crazy.
me too. I agree with you. How do you not like pickles?
But a good kind of crazy. I love you.
I agree with you, Uncle
That's
Drew.
because you and I have the same
pickles.
taste, Hayden. We have the same taste. We like to eat the same stuff, like pizza
Nope.
and chocolate.
Beans. Yeah, you're very
Vegetables.
separate with beans.
That's true. That's true. When you're older, you might like beans, Hayden. They also eat figs. So figs are super yummy. I don't know. Figs aren't super common in the U.S., but they are really, really yummy fruits. I highly recommend. Maybe you've had fig Newtons. Have you ever had fig Newtons?
Not really, no.
I've heard of them though.
You could try it. That has fig inside of it, and you'll probably like them. They also do lots of almonds, so lots of nuts and snacky things. I really like almonds. They're delicious. Maybe if you don't like almonds, you can just stick to desserts like tiramisu. All kinds of yummy, delicious things. And what they're most famous for when it comes to desserts is gelato. It's like ice cream, but it's slightly different. But look at this stuff. And they have all kinds of delicious flavors. It's super creamy. And when you go and look at it in the stores, they have all kinds of like creative ways that it's designed like this.
Wait, in Magic Kingdom Park.
Yeah, we've had some gelato.
I mean, it was at Epcot. Sorry.
There's nothing like gelato in Italy, though. But yes,
yeah, nothing beats it. Nothing beats it. I actually had gelato sitting in front of the Colosseum, which I think I'm probably going to spell here wrong, but I literally had I had gelato and sat in front of the Colosseum just like this, which is like a famous old building that we'll take a look at later. But yeah, there's a little gelato.
Ooh.
So let's talk about money. Italy, wealthy country, poor country. What do you think?
Wealthy.
Correcto. They are number 22 of wealth per person. So not quite like Switzerland or the US or like Netherlands, like we talked about the other days, but they are way up there at number 22.
Why does the flag have one green, one red, and one white?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure why each flag has its different colors. I haven't studied that, but I'm sure we could Google it and find out. That can be a homework item. For now, we'll talk about how they make leather. They make lots of leather for bags, for shoes, for all kinds of stuff. And they make really fancy cars. They have Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Maseratis, all kinds of crazy fancy cars that you very rarely see because they cost like the same as buying 5 or 6 cars. So like people with tons of money, instead of buying 5 or 6 cars, they might get one really, really nice one. And that's what these are. And they go so fast. Crazy, crazy fast. And they make really loud noises usually. What do you think? Lots of people or not a lot of people?
Medium.
They're pretty large. They're the 23rd largest in the world. So they're almost in the top 10. 60 million people. So about the same size as France or the United Kingdom, very close to Germany. Tanzania, if you remember learning about Tanzania, one of our first lessons.
Who has the most people in the world?
That would be China. China and India are number 1 and 2, and they have so many people. Like they have, China has almost 5 times as many as the U.S.
United States is the
United States is really big, but China is 5 times bigger. They're massive, and India too. But Rome used to be way bigger. Like today they have 60 million people, but it used to be 120 million people. There was this thing called the Roman Empire, where they conquered like all of Europe And they had a bunch of, like they stretched all the way into Asia and the Middle East. They had parts of Africa.
Wait, was it the biggest, but it was the biggest country in the world back then?
At that time, it may have been the biggest organized country. I'm not sure. Maybe China, maybe there are other areas that were organized that may have been larger, but it would have been either in China or the Roman Empire, I think. China's always been pretty big. It was big because of this guy, not only because of him, but this is Augustus Caesar, or Caesar Augustus.
Oh, I've heard of him. Me too.
Heard of him? Yeah, he was their leader, and he was
Augustus.
yeah, he conquered a lot of these lands, and so they went and they took all these different lands.
He lived a long time ago.
He did live a long time ago, and these buildings are from a long time ago. That's why Rome is so interesting. They have these really modern buildings right next to really, really old buildings. Like this is the Colosseum that we looked at, but just around it, there's like super modern buildings all over the place. Here it is at night. Colosseum, super old, and then modern current city all around it. They also have the Vatican City. Have you heard of the Vatican City? Do you know what that is?
Do not, I don't think.
It's this one, it's actually technically a country. This whole little square, this little plaza you see here, counts as its own country. And it's a country of like 100 people or 300 people or something like this. And the reason it's a country, and it's right in the middle of Rome, is because this guy lives there, the Pope. So the Vatican City is where the Pope lives, and he congregates all the Catholic people and other people as well, but mostly Catholic people will come and listen, and he'll speak his good Catholic words to them.
So he's basically like a president.
He's kind of like a president, but for the Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church is enormous.
How does that small thing, it's not actually really small, but
it is really small.
Why is it considered a country? It's like it's like
because,
not even a duck.
Yeah, it's because actually I'm not sure all of the technical and historical reasons, but basically the Catholic Church gets granted the ability to be its own entity. And so their home there in Rome, actually Rome is where Christianity really became a big thing, and Catholicism became a big thing. So Catholicism was really like, yeah, it was the main way that people practiced Christianity for over 1,000 years. And it really started with in Rome in 300 AD. And that's when it started to get really, 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 really big, because the leader of the country thought it was a good idea. And he said, you know, we should all be Christian. And so they sort of implemented that throughout the country, and it started to grow and grow and grow. And so they get their own sort of rules and policies. Actually, the Catholic Church is, I think, the wealthiest organization in the world. They have, if you look at the value of all the land and all the churches and all the buildings and all the donations they have around the world, I'm pretty sure it's the wealthiest, other than like maybe a country. I don't think they have more money than like the United States, but as an organization that's not a country, they have a lot. Are you guys cold? In addition to too much air conditioning, maybe. In addition to the Vatican City, they also have San Marino, which is this other like small little city or small little country within Italy. So it's technically its own country. There's a whole bunch of weird ones like this. And there's Campione d'Italia, which is actually in Switzerland. It's inside Switzerland's border, but it's technically owned by Italy. Like it's right across the border. It's kind of confusing. It's like it's right like this. It's right across the border, and it's fully surrounded in Switzerland. But technically it's Italy. Sometimes countries have these weird things where they have like small little pockets in other countries that they own. Milan, they have all kinds of interesting architecture in Italy. Rachel, did you go to Milan?
I did not.
Okay, but you went to Florence.
Florence, yes.
So Florence is where they're famous for art. And specifically, they have these guys, Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, and Leonardo da Vinci, which inspired the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you've ever seen that. But they're famous artists. Bless you. Bless you. Oh my goodness. Bless you again.
I know who that like doll is.
Mona Lisa. Super famous. Exactly. So that's Leonardo da Vinci. Michelangelo, if you've ever seen these, some of the most famous artwork in the world was from Michelangelo. Raphael's art, more sort of famous art, and then the last one would be Donatello. So some of it's sculptures, lots of paintwork, all kinds of things. They also have the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Have you heard of this one? It's an entire tower that leans to the side.
Wait, Mommy drew it.
Yeah. This morning.
Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that recently.
Can you see it?
Tourists like to take photos with this thing where they like pretend like they're holding it up, just like this. They do all kinds of fun and creative stuff, similar to what we saw in Bolivia with the salt flats, where they get really, really creative. So here's one where someone's holding it up, and here's one where they're pushing it over. Look at that. You're pulling up your photo, Rach?
So like,
no, I just said I have.
Oh, it's an optical illusion. They made an optical illusion.
I'm gonna show them the pictures later today.
Got it. Got it. Here's a whole team that's trying to hold it up together. They're all supporting one another. Super fun. They also have this guy, Galileo Galilei, who's known as the father of physics, the father of astronomy, and the father of science. So anything related to science, he's usually credited as dad. It's like, hey, dad of science. Hello, father of science. It's because he was super, super smart, and he made a lot of advancements in science. And astronomy as well, which is like studying the stars. So he learned all kinds of stuff about the stars and math and science and how that all works. So if you ever decide that you like science and math class, you can thank this guy.
I like science
and math. You do like science?
No, not math. I don't like math.
Not math? I like math. Math was my favorite subject in school. Yeah. I just like that it always made sense, you know? 2 plus 2 equals 5. 4? Mind blown. Sometimes it equals 4 and sometimes it equals 5, right? No, it equals 4. This is Cinque Terre. Have you guys seen photos of Cinque Terre and Cinque Terre? Mom show you photos? A little town.
But they will see many later today.
Got it. Yep, a pretty little town that a lot of tourists like to visit with beautiful water. Speaking of beautiful water, there's Venice. So similar to Netherlands, that has all these canals and all these boats that you sort of use to navigate the city. Venice is really famous for the same thing. So it's really pretty, and it's actually super touristic. It has so many tourists, and people travel from all around the world to see Venice. In fact, they don't show you this in most of the photos. They just show the pretty stuff, but look how many tourists there are here.
In boats?
These aren't all on boats. They take boats when they are on the water, like this. So it's not always going to look pretty and picturesque with one boat. Sometimes you're going to see like tens and tens of boats like this, and there's going to be boat traffic jams. That's something to know. All these pretty places we look at, the ones that are really popular for tourists, when you go there, it doesn't always look just like the photo, because oftentimes people take the perfect photo, the best one. It's like when you take 30 photos of yourself and you're like, I like this one where I have the best smile. Let's use that one. But there's also like 28 other photos where you look goofy or funny or not perfect. It's like that with touristic spots too. And they have so many pigeons. Remember we looked at this with Bolivia? We literally looked at this photo with this boy. But yeah, Venice has so many pigeons.
Looked at that one.
They have more pigeons than humans. There's 100,000 pigeons in Venice and 60,000 humans. So two pigeons for every person in this town.
Look at that lady! Such a poor lady.
So many. If you get out of the cities, they have mountains. They have the Alps in Italy, just like in a lot of the neighboring countries, like in Switzerland. And what happens when you have Alps and mountains? You get snow.
No!
All kinds of stuff.
Oh no! Look, first one on second row.
First one on the second row. That's where my face is. Okay. Ice skating. All right. Group family ice skating. That was fun.
They fell down.
This is funky. This shows you a mix of 2 different images in the same place, but 2 different seasons. So they cropped the photo. So half looks like summer and half looks like winter. That's kind of cool.
And it's at the same time?
No, it's two different times. They blended two photos to make it look like it's one, but it's two different times. And so in the summer, you might go mountain biking here, but in the winter, you ski. And they play soccer. Surprising, right? Super surprising. I wouldn't have guessed it because there's so few countries that like soccer, right? It's so unpopular. You're like, boring, we learned this. Marco Polo. Remember when we talked about Marco Polo in one of our previous lessons?
Yeah.
In the game, in the pool? Marco Polo. You know, I learned why they named the game after Marco Polo, or at least I have an idea. It's because he was an explorer. And in the same way that Christopher Columbus explored a lot of the Americas, Marco Polo went east and he explored a lot of Asia. And so he was probably walking around kind of blind and he didn't know stuff and he was sort of discovering. So that's my guess as to why they call the pool game Marco Polo. But this is the explorer dude. And he was Italian, as was Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was Italian as well. Although he was funded by like Spain and Portugal to travel around, not by Italy. They didn't want to fund his stuff. Who's humming? Hayden. I see. Okay, one more photo. What do you think it's going to be? It's going to be like what we did with the Netherlands. Italy hearts. With all the things to remember.
Knew it.
What do you think? Anything look memorable to you? What else did we learn about?
Pizza, boats, flag, leaning tower, the castle, the dressing up.
We didn't talk about how they ride a lot of Vespas. Little like kind of like
we didn't.
Cycles. They ride a ton of Vespas around.
Italy Vespas. Let's see here. I had forgotten that, but you are totally right. They have tons of Vespas. Let's see. Italy Vespas, so many. Let's see what we find. So out in the streets, you might see a bunch of people
riding their Vespas. They're kind of like motorcycles, but
they are fun looking.
They are.
Very casual. So that's Italy. What do you think?
Great.
I think that Italy has the tastiest food in the whole entire world. My own taste preferences. I really like Italian food.
Yeah, there's really yummy Italian food. I'm not going to argue that. Although Taiwan's really good, Japan's really good.
There's a lot of really great types of food, but my favorite type of all foods is Italian food. So eating Italian food in Italy is just delightful.
Look how many facts I have.
Show me. And tell me about them. Huh. Is that a blank page? Tell me about your facts, Quinn. What did you learn?
So many pizzas.
Quinn, use words, please.
So many pigeons. More than humans. When I do this pigeon.
I love it. And you've got the Alps, you've got the Vespas, you've got figs and giant pizzas. What else? Marco Polo, leather, rabbits, dogs, wealthy, the artists, of course.
Hey, I'm going to remember the weird looking owls that we looked at?
Today? Weird owls?
Yeah, the owls. Yeah.
I don't remember any owls. I remember this weird looking Mastiff dog.
No, but we looked at it.
Hold on.
We did.
Porcupines, we looked at these little rabbits, we looked at the marmots, we looked at deer.
It was just in my pics.
The lynx.
Wait, no, go to the link. There was like, go and look for owls.
No owls. We didn't do owls today.
Well, you showed a picture of
Maybe
an
there's an
owl.
owl somewhere in the mix, but he didn't talk about owls. Would you
Certainly
like to show
possible. We can search for owls. Maybe there's a funny looking owl.
Yes.
These ones have funny noses.
Wait, can you write blue owl? Oh my god. Blue owl with shoes. Blue owls with shoes.
Watson, you write oh the owl.
This?
Oh, that one. The owl.
Oh, the owl.
I can't see what you point at. I'm not there.
The one that looks like this guy.
This one?
Yeah, that one. This guy.
Cute. Super cute.
He has absolutely nothing to do with Italy, but he is a toy that Hayden rediscovered recently.
I rediscovered it. I rediscovered it. No, I did. I found the bin.
Whoa, you flipped your screen. I see the world and the outside.
Flip the screen.
Love what you do. I love that world map. And I love your face, Quinn. And your face, Hayden. You have a good face too.
All right.
And his face.
That's a good face.
And his face. And his face.
All right, I think it's time to say goodbye and end the Italy lesson.
No, but I like this guy's face. No.
You guys remember any of the Italian words? Like ciao? Ciao.